Have any of you heard of WeWork? WeWork is a co-working space, probably the most, not necessarily the biggest, but it was the most popular, really trendy with a lot of hipsters in beards and thongs, sandals rocking up to work with their chai caramel lattes, as Wes would say.
It's pumpkin now.
Pumpkin.
Kind of a pumpkin latte.
Pumpkin and cinnamon lattes.
Pumpkin and cinnamon latte, thank you. I was like, does that come in men's?
With their pants that don't go all the way down and stuff.
No, you've got to have good-looking ankles these days, otherwise it's not fair.
So WeWork, it's actually, oh, you've got
That's
it
that
open.
one, yeah.
Yeah, great.
There was something else I found, but...
So WeWork went to go for an IPO.
Third IPO.
Went for some ridiculous 150
$47 billion
$47
valuation.
billion valuation.
So they're a co-working space that have gone all around the world.
But they don't own any space. So they've
got a little bit.
They've changed a little bit.
They've got a little bit.
So their strategy was, we'll go to a really expensive commercial real estate place. We'll lease like a bunch of floors in a prime building, and we'll put a 10-year or a 20-year lease on it and lock it in at one price. So yeah, we get people paying us a couple of $100 a month or whatever to be a member. And their game plan was, at the moment they're losing money on it, but as inflation goes up, they'll be able to charge more for their memberships, but they'll still be paying the same for rent. So that was the theory. And so it was running more, they reckoned it was going to be valued more like a tech company, which is just excruciatingly increased prices. But the CEO called to stand down.
Well, he's gone.
He's gone now. And now they're trying to repackage it and everything like that. But what does a story like this mean for us?
Well, it's another classic example of the world gone mad, right? They have just tried to do too big to fail. Yeah. They're the Uber of this world, right? So, Uber is going to be, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, Uber will be the largest corporate failure in human history, okay? Soon. Right? They're gone. And WeWork are going to be pretty close. And what's interesting is both founders were that move fast and break things. I don't care about the law. We're doing it like we are a law unto ourselves. We will just smash it until we win. That they're both been marched out of their companies. Yeah. Okay. So, and then the companies have started to tank. So WeWork, it's a really interesting model because they went to a first IPO and they couldn't do it because they didn't get the support. So they pulled back. They went for a second IPO 12 months later, didn't get the support. They went for a third IPO, this 2 weeks ago, at a valuation of $47 billion, and they couldn't get the support. So they pulled it. They're now valued at $8 billion. From $47 billion valuation 2 weeks ago to $8 billion today. And the only reason why they're worth $8 billion today is because most of the things that they've signed up for, they get a 1-year rent-free period. So in 1 year, they're about to have their overheads are about to, 10x, right? Now let's look at numbers. So total income for WeWork last year, 1.8 billion, right? Total income. With a loss of 800 million, right? So they spent 800 million more than the 1.8 billion they did in sales. That's not even the bad news, right? Because this year they've doubled their revenue and doubled their losses. Think about that. They've doubled their revenue and doubled their losses. Like, it's the worst business in the world. Every single one of you watching right now, if you made a 20 grand profit last year, you are running a better business than WeWork, right? So, because I mean, the whole goal here with WeWork and all those tech companies is they raise money, right? So these guys have raised $8 billion. That's what they've raised, and they're burning it. They're down to 1 in the bank. So they have spent $7 billion, and their whole goal is raise money, right, and then burn it, and then at some point the sales pass the burn rate, and now you are profitable. Yeah. The problem is they never get there. And Box and Dropbox, no chance. Skype, no chance of ever becoming profitable. Okay, this is another example of the same thing. So how do we take this? And you know what's really interesting? 50 years ago, it was illegal to list a company on any stock exchange if you were not profitable. In 2019, 0 companies that list are profitable. Tech companies that list are profitable. So what a shift we've had. I just think that is absolutely ridiculous. And
so is that,
like, I want them to fail.
Is that a pure Babylon play, or is it just an unwise play?
It's probably driven by Babylon. It's probably driven by greed. It's probably driven by ego. When you raise $8 billion of somebody else's money, it doesn't really matter whether it works or not, right? You know, you're just going to get to play around with something, and then, you know, what's really crazy about Silicon Valley is Adam. I think Adam's the founder. He's been marched out of the company. If they burn it and this goes under, he'll be able to go to Silicon Valley tomorrow morning with a new idea and raise another $1 billion. They do not care.
Yeah.
So yes, it's Babylon, but it's also insanely unwise. Like surely profit has got some value. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Really, in business, you need to be profitable?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, you know what's hilarious is there's no other global co-working space company, right?
Yeah.
There are some that are big. Like Australia's got one that's fairly big, but none of them are global. If these guys had just gone 50% slower, they would still be number 1 in the world, and they would actually probably have a chance of being profitable.
Well, there was another one which was the number 1 before these guys. I was just trying to find their name. I forgot what their name was, but they had the share of co-working spaces, and they were a very profitable company, and they were doing well. And then they started to go backwards even before WeWork came on the scene. Then WeWork came on the scene, and they keep going backwards even further. It just seems like that if the best of the best was going backwards, then...
But you got to think through the business model. Here's something that would be valuable for you. Like, who is WeWork's customer?
Well, I'm assuming that theirs is their investor.
Yeah, but the people that pay the money are these really small bootstrap startup businesses.
Yeah.
The most vulnerable business in the entire ecosystem.
Oh yeah, good point.
Single operator who has got small revenue. Because once you do 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, you're probably out and in your own office.
Yeah.
So they have built a business around the riskiest customer in the entire ecosystem.
And the easiest person to get out, because it's like, I'll just work from home.
Yeah, and heaps of people are off, you know, like hopping in and hopping out. Now, the idea of being able to go into a flexible workspace is actually a very good idea, but the economics are not there. Right?
It's great for you as a business owner.
Yeah.
Not great for them.
Yeah, and they're proving that they can't get sticky customers, and there's obviously no margin in it, and that, you know, they're burning $2.7 billion a year to earn 1.8. It's
crazy. There was in The Economist, they brought up this great analogy of, do you remember the story of the emperor and his new clothes? How, I don't know if you remember this story, but there was this emperor who had someone come, a special tailor come and make him a special outfit, and there was actually nothing there, and the emperor was parading around with nothing on, but no one would dare tell him that he's not wearing any clothes, because, oh wow, your new clothes look amazing, emperor. They drew this analogy with WeWork, that WeWork was this company that was walking around with no clothes on, and everyone's like, oh, you're amazing. No one dared tell them that it wasn't working. And I look at this from a leadership perspective, and you look at all these tech companies that have these, I'm going to say air quotes, leaders that have these great visions, but you listed a whole bunch of zero road to profitability. And I don't see that as leadership. I see that as someone with a crazy idea, but a leader should be someone that has a great vision that people will follow for, but also has a strategy to get there.
Yeah, a profitable strategy. To me, these clowns are not much better than Bernie Madoff with the world's largest Ponzi scheme, right? You know, like, to me, that's all it is. And you know what's really crazy is a lot of people have made a lot of money out of Uber and WeWork, but they were Silicon Valley, and it's a game of hot potato. So if I bought in at 1 billion, right, and I bought some shares, and then I sell them for 2 billion, right, on the valuation of the business is going up, that's like, great, I made $1 billion. If I bought in at 2 billion and I sold them for 5 billion, I've just made a heap of money. If I buy in at 5 and sell for 10, so everyone's doing that. The problem comes when you bought in at 40 billion and you can't raise at 47, and now it's worth 8, and you've taken a whole, billions of dollars of mum and dad's money in your LLC to be able to put this in, and now you've lost it.
Yeah, that's the people that usually lose out, isn't it? Because
it's the end of the hot potato. It's the last person holding it that ends up being ripped off. So Silicon Valley made the money all the way through. Mums and dads end up holding the can at the end. And I hate that with a passion. So, I mean, Silicon Valley has its place, but the way they do business is ridiculous because they're just betting with everybody else's money.
Yeah.
And, and that's a real shame. And, we run this business. We run it out of profitability. We make investments. We make them out of profit, right? We invest in things.
He
we do
squeezes a dollar out of everything.
Well, I've got to talk to you about your annual wage decrease next year. But yeah, that's the world that we live in, and it ain't great. Let's just transpose this to Dave Ramsey, right? Who we've spoken about. And if you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, just Google him. He's amazing. And he's America's money guy. 13 million people a day tune into his show. He's just cash flowed his own office at $70 million cash. He started selling a book out the trunk of his car. He's built a 1,000-person company, and cash flowed his own office at 70 million. It's like out of cash, no borrowing. It's like it can be done.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and do this whole Silicon Valley and
done a kingdom way because he's a kingdom guy.
It's not like it's the only way to do it in 2019. There are plenty of businesses that are growing really well, steadily out of cash flow. So, I don't know. It's one model and it's broken.
My encouragement to you is taking away from this WeWork and fiasco and all these big companies is, I'm sure God's given you a massive vision for your business, and we're believing for you that you'll achieve that. But just remember, the vision alone isn't enough. We need proper strategy behind it. We need the hard work and the proper strategy behind it. So, seek out the right advice for strategy. Get into your quiet place and ask God, God, give me a strategy. He will give you a strategy, and learn from as many different places as you can, so that you don't just have a big vision and just running aimlessly at something that's never going to make money, but you can be strategic and build something that's influential.
So, by the way, if you liked this kind of macroeconomics chat between the Craig and I, then put me, just say, enjoyed it or something in the comments, because, if you didn't, then we won't do it again. But if you did, then we'll grab these newspapers infrequently and jump on here and talk about stuff. There's even more, but I don't want to. We're probably done, but
I've still got a list of a couple others.
Yeah. I want to talk about Oraton and their bounce back in the retail sector and stuff. But anyway, we can do those on another day. So anyway, if you enjoyed it, put something in the comments. That would let us know whether we should do this again.